It is time for the first tire rotation on the Rivian, and we're going to do that later today in about 4.5 hours. But I thought, what better time than to talk about the Rivian? So the Rivian's been doing great, and I've been having minor issues, which, you know, I covered in my service video that they repaired first time there, no issue. So actually it's been doing really good since then, no issues at all. I use it a lot, and you know, I've only had it 4 months now, and we've got 5,000 miles on it. So that's a lot in my opinion. I use it as a truck. You know, it's my daily get around vehicle when I'm not working, which is what I'm doing right now. Just driving around the Rivian, getting things done, and it's my work vehicle. If I want to do any actual manual labor, I use this truck. It has an onboard inverter, so you know, if any kind of power I need, it's got it. Everything I've plugged into it and needed it to run so far, it has done it just fine. It's only a 1.5 kilowatt inverter, but you know, it works. It does what I need it to do. And I've been using it to tow trailers, sometimes heavy, sometimes not so much. And I've gotten a good feel of how the range works when towing. It is about a 50% reduction. So yeah, that's not great, but I mean, it's to be expected. You know, everyone says electric vehicles can't tow, but at the same time, if you have like my Ram, for example, got 26 miles per gallon. You put a trailer behind it and it got 16. Sure, that's not 50%, but it's a pretty considerable reduction in range that nobody talks about. They just want to make it look like, you know, electric can't do it. I just realized I forgot a package that I was supposed to be taking to FedEx, and cool, I'll have to go back and get that. Anyway, it works fine. It's doing exactly what I needed it to do. The only thing that I would have done different, which was actually the plan, instead of getting the large battery pack, I was going to get the max battery pack. And I have the max battery pack on order. That is still a possibility. But now I'm presented new choices, and let's talk about those choices. I'm going to run in here right quick. We'll be back to talk about it. So recently they announced the Ram Rev, which is the new Ram all-electric pickup truck. And I'm not going to lie, it's really turning my head over here. I glanced at it because I was like, you know, well, there's a few things that if this truck checks off, it could potentially replace the Rivian, but we'll see. And I was like, probably not. You know, like I like the Rivian better. I do still like the design of the Rivian way better than I do the Ram. But I know that the Ram would be bigger, kind of like the F-150 Lightning. It would be, you know, a bigger overall cargo, and it could haul more, according to the numbers. But, you know, at this point, the Lightning does not beat the Rivian's 10,000 pound towing capacity. Hauling, yes, but towing, no. So we'll see. So they announced it, and I watched the event, and I tell you, the more I learned, the more I liked. One of the major things that, you know, had I known, which it's not a big deal, but one of the big things about Rivian is that it is a 400 volt car. You know, most electric cars today are 400 volt, and that really restricts your charging ability, because when you charge, the charger has to match DC charging. The charger has to match the voltage of the battery, and then it's the amps that really get you the higher kilowatt. So you can't go above the voltage of the battery. So when it's a 400 volt battery, you can only get 400 volt. And so the amp is what really raises your kilowatt. And most chargers, actually a lot of chargers, are only going to allow 150 kilowatt because of the amperage limitation. I have found a few that I was able to get about 214 kilowatt. But again, I think we're at the top of our amperage limitations, and that's it. The only way to fix that is to get a higher voltage car. And when you go into an 800 volt car, you don't need as many amps to charge the same 200 kilowatt, or you have the potential of going to 350 kilowatt, or potentially even higher if they start releasing that. So 800 volt seems like a good idea. And that's kind of, if I'm going to replace the Rivian, I might as well go full out 800 volt, something that can actually charge quicker than the Rivian. And the new Ram Rev is 800 volts. So that really perked my interest because, I was like, it's probably just the same thing as the Rivian, just bigger, and I don't want that. Another big factor is the 229 kilowatt hour battery pack. The Rivian has a 135 kilowatt hour battery pack. So that tells me that the Ram's going to eat energy a lot more than the Rivian does. But at the same time, with a 229 kilowatt hour battery pack, they're claiming 500 miles of range. Now, with the Rivian, they were expecting a 180 kilowatt hour battery pack in the Max Pack that can get 400 miles of range. So, yeah, the Rivian's definitely going to be more efficient in that matter. And one other really major thing for me, the only reason I actually considered a Ford F-150 Lightning is the onboard power. Like I said, in the Rivian here, I have a 1.5 kilowatt inverter, and it'll run up to 1,500 watts of power, whatever I need. But above 1,500 watts, you're going to trip a fuse or trip a switch, and that's going to be it. So you're kind of limited on what you can power with it. I have a electric push mower and a weed eater that I try to run on the truck at the same time, and it does it. But I think we're at the end of our ability there because that's really pulling just about the max amount of power I'm able to out of this truck. So the one reason that I really wanted an F-150 Lightning is because it has a 7.2 kilowatt inverter. And I think if you combine, it has like two inverters. So if you combine both inverters, you can get a total of 9.6 kilowatt. Well, they announced that with the Ram, it will also have a 7.2 in the rear and a combined 10.1, I think it was. So even better. Major thing for me on that is, with a 7.2 kilowatt inverter, it's the same as my generator, basically. And if it has a 240 volt ability, I can run my entire house on it because my generator is it's actually 8 kilowatt, but it runs the entire house. Doesn't run the air conditioner, but it will run the heat. It will run everything. So if I could plug my house into my truck when the power goes out, and not have a loud generator running and have just constant power, that would be great. And that was really my main reason for looking at the Lightning to begin with, because, this is new technology. It's something to try out, and it would be freaking amazing. But one of my biggest problems with the Lightning is that it doesn't show any details when plugged in. No charge rate, no kilowatt, no volt, no amp, nothing. I don't like that. And I've voiced my opinion on that, but it appears Ford is not going to change their mind on how they don't provide any information on that. Hopefully Ram will provide that information, because that will be a deal breaker for me. If they provide no information about charging the vehicle, I'm not about that. And I'll walk away at that point. One major thing about Ram in general is that they don't provide their app access for free. Tesla, it's free. Rivian, for now, it's free. Ram wants like $30, $40 a month for app access. Now, maybe that'll be different with the electric one. I don't know. But that's going to be an added cost that I need to factor in when I actually think, is it worth replacing the Rivian over? A lot of factors to consider, a lot of things. There are things that I really like about this Ram, but if the downsides outweigh the upsides, I'm better off just keeping the Rivian. And the Rivian is more unique and just looks different, and I like that about it. So that may be a pretty big factor as well for me. We'll go over the different things when time comes closer and we know more information about the Ram. We also don't know pricing at this point. I did put in a reservation for, you reserve your spot to be invited to put in a pre-order. It's kind of weird. It's basically like how they did the Chrysler 300. But I put in a spot just to see, you know, we'll see when the pricing comes out if it's even something I want to do. The reservation's fully refundable, so whatever. I'm going to keep my order in for the Max Pack Rivian, because at this point my plan is to just get the Max Pack, trade this truck in on it, and go with that. But we'll explore the Ram when it does, you know, come out, and have more information about it, and see if that's even remotely what I want to do. I'm liking what I see so far, but there's a lot of room for things that could go wrong, and I don't want to have to deal with that. You know, my last Jeep that I bought, which was a Mopar product, or whatever they want to call herself now, was just a big pile. It did not work very well. It had a ton of issues. I ended up just selling it a month after I got it, because it's like, I'm not going to deal with that. Yeah, it's under warranty, but if I have to drive it to the dealer every week to be put in for warranty work, this is not working for me. So, yeah. We'll look at it when it comes out. Right now the plan is to, you know, drive this Rivian until my Max Pack is ready, and then trade up to the Max Pack. And, you know, who knows on that? Maybe I won't even do that, because with the Max Pack, they're going to strip it of its 4 motors and make you do 2 motors. And I don't really want that either. I like my 4 motors. This thing will take off. So I don't know. We'll explore all these possibilities when the time comes. For now, I'm going to enjoy my Rivian, because I really do enjoy it. And it never hurts to think about what's next, but for now, I'm just going to enjoy it.